people will react differently at funerals, right? Like some people will be like, hey, why did you go so early? I want to come with you. And in my mind, it's like, go lah then. Put the person on the funeral pyre, both of you go.
Other than the last part, everything is puff marble.
And it's not cool when they're like hot boys walking past and you're like this Singapore girl who's like, oh my God, so good looking. And your mom is like, go to the toilet now. Go to the toilet to do your VV. And you're like, what?
Hey everybody, welcome back to yet another episode of Help Desk. I'm your host Drew. Today I'm joined once again by my good friend Michelle.
What's up, guys? I'm back.
Thank you, Michelle. And on today's episode, we are also joined by Rishi Budhrani and Sharul Channa, husband and wife comedian duo. We talk about their upcoming show. We talk about their relationship. We also talk about what it's like to be stand-up comedians in Singapore.
And we also are going to answer some of your questions about relationships as well.
And marriage. So stay tuned for that. Dial up the episode, Michelle.
Got it. Hi. Rishi.
You guys are here to talk about your new show, right? Coming up next week. What's the date? I don't know when this will be released.
It happens at, hopefully since we've come here to record, to promote the show, this can go out before the 21st of March.
Okay, 21st of March.
21st of March at the Esplanade Concert Hall, 8:30 p.m. And we're doing the Rishi and Sharul show part 3.
Yeah.
So the show, completely new material? Because you know, like sometimes you see a stand-up comic and you might see them years apart, but some of the bits are like the same.
Wow.
I don't know if...
I think it depends on how soon you've seen us, right? So if there are fans who are following us to the clubs over the past year, inevitably they might have seen some of the work being workshopped in the clubs.
Okay.
But as a whole, it's a new show, I think.
Yeah,
there may be some familiar bits, but yeah.
It really depends when you're when you're eating the beef and how you're cooking it, you know. You would like it medium. Do you like it, you know? It's the same thing with jokes. If you can see the same joke in a club 2 years back, but by the time it reaches the theatre, it's just well cooked.
Yeah.
And so you might have heard the premise, but the whole joke might have been well done.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Spoken like a good Hindu.
my father's a chef, so
I see.
I can give food reference. Although I don't advocate eating beef.
Mate, feel free to like move your mic if you need to like reach over to the table. No, I mean,
this guy is staring at me going like, bro, your long face is blocking your wife's beautiful face.
I just like want to make it as easy as possible for you to get to quench your thirst.
But actually, Sharul brought up a damn good point. You know, sometimes you might have seen something in the clubs, but sitting in like, you know, a big theater, in that grandeur, in that moment, sometimes it's just a different vibe, you know, like laughing together with 1,000 or over people is very different than being in a club sometimes.
And will you guys share the stage together, or is it like one after the other?
At some point we will. We're going to take questions from the audiences. They can ask us like
interactive.
Relationship questions. We might even, if we get a chance, roast the audiences, but not to their face. Like basically, you know, we have live feed.
Yeah.
So let's see how that
goes. We won't roast
Let's
them.
zoom in on that now.
Yeah.
Who's the one asking the questions?
Well, if you go to the show, you sit front row and you heckle, then you're just asking for it, right?
Yeah. But Singaporeans are generally very nice. They don't heckle. I mean, even the bass, like even to make them laugh, like an audience in Malaysia would take 3 seconds to start laughing. Okay. Well, Singaporeans are very awkward beings.
Yes.
Like they're laughing, but internally, and they don't know how to laugh out loud. They're very like, you know. So you really need to like make them very comfortable, and then they start like, you know, then they start with the very funny, like, you know. Otherwise, they're very like, you know.
It's weird, right? Sometimes you do a show and you don't hear much response, and then after the show, people come to you, wow, so funny, you know, I really love it. I'm such a big fan. I said, why you never laugh?
Never laugh, CB. We've been trying to make you laugh the whole time.
Like,
Today we need to educate them. They need to laugh out loud
openly,
now.
They're awkward. I think Singaporeans are really awkward. I think we are, for the most part, terrible at communications and terrible at sex. Both of which.
Which one's worse? Which one are they worse
I
at?
can't even decide anymore.
Okay.
I think everybody's so stressed.
Yeah.
They don't communicate well, and I don't think they're having enough sex.
You spoke about like roasting someone in the audience. Do you have to prepare those things? Because you know when you see it on like the clips, it's always so fast and like. Do you think of things to say? Like if there's a guy with glasses in the front row
already.
and he says something, then like I've got this one in the back pocket.
I don't know if you can 100% prepare for improvisation. The short answer, I think, is no, because if you find something on stage in one show and you think that, oh my God, I can keep this and I can use it the next time this situation presents itself. Most of the time, it doesn't hit the same level, because something about being in that room with that group of people in that moment makes it magical and special. So I think it comes with a lot of practice. Like if you play with the crowd a lot, sometimes you get comfortable and then you find moments of magic that drop in. So we're just doing our best to prepare ourselves and hopefully some magic happens.
Yeah, no audience is the same. Like you have to enter the room and then you figure out after 5 to 10 seconds being on stage, depending on where the laughter is coming from after your first joke, to decide what the vibe of the room is like. It's like being a magician, who is reacting to what are the audience. Sometimes people go sometimes you don't know who's coming. Like a lot of white people show up, a lot of Westerners show up, a lot of expats show up. And then how do you unite like local Singaporeans with the expats, kind of, you have to, some jokes you do for this group, some you do for this group, some are for everybody.
Yeah.
And then, once they start laughing, you can see quirks. Some people touch their partner a lot when they're laughing. And some people are so awkward. Some people slap their thighs. So, like, you can make fun of. Some people like to wear the cap indoors. So I always like.
I mean, some people like to wear shades indoors as well.
Who's wearing? Fish. Am I wearing? These are not.
Yeah.
Bro, these are tinted glasses lah.
Okay, sorry.
But I always see like people who wear like their caps indoors. I always ask them if they're scared that knowledge is gonna fall into their heads, and that's why they block that. But
I am. I live in fear of that exact thing. Honestly.
So it really depends. Really depends.
Yeah. God forbid I learn something new.
Yeah.
No, but some people also like to repeat your punchlines to their people that are sitting next
Oh,
to.
yeah.
As it's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find that annoying?
Do you find that annoying? Sorry.
So did you repeat that?
I just did that. Yeah. She's the only one who got it. Basket.
Yeah,
All of
yeah.
your knowledge is not going in.
Because the cap
it's
is
Because of
on.
your cap.
No,
Yeah.
sorry.
I mean, they really, if they're not disrupting the show, and when you've been in the business for so long, there is a part of you that blocks out a lot of things.
Okay.
Because you have 30 minutes, you don't want to spend too much time making fun of one person. But sometimes when it's jarring, like someone's laugh, like I remember I was doing Esplanade once and someone got a heart attack during my set.
No way.
Yeah. And then the ambulance had to show up, but the show kept going on and people were still laughing. And I just really wanted to find out if the person survived or not, because then I'd be like, people died laughing, Very dark.
Very good. Yeah, but very
good
good.
Google review. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
like died laughing.
Didn't that put you off at all? Like, could you see the guy getting a heart
No,
attack?
I didn't know this at all. People, I
Oh.
just felt like there was a lot of commotion happening somewhere, but people were laughing at the same time. It was
Okay.
a lot of nervousness. So I was like, what's going on? And then the Hizri, who runs Comedy Club Asia, is like, hey, during Sharul's set, someone got a heart attack, man. I'm like,
You're kidding.
did it happen midway? Did I say he choke on
Yeah,
something?
you want to know what's the exact
what was the
joke?
point?
What was the
caused-
punchline?
What caused the heart attack, man?
Yeah, geez.
Shit. I really hope he survived it.
Good thing you didn't roast the dude.
I didn't.
That would have
Maybe he
been
was
that-
worried he would get roasted
Yeah,
after he saw
maybe.
her roasting the other fella.
Maybe he saw a woman with a mic and thought like, shit, they talk, or I don't
Oh
know.
my
Yeah,
God.
maybe he couldn't
Really
stand it.
depends.
I gotta get out of
You
here.
really never know. Singapore is a very patriarchal society.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Don't
I
you
mean,
think?
Speaking about Singapore, okay, what do I think about
Yeah.
that? I think it can be, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
There's definitely traces to that. What do you think, Michelle? Patriarchal society. Quick,
Look at
give your
me.
word on it.
I'm a part-timer. He's the full-timer.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you are not a
see,
part-timer.
I mean,
Oh.
if
Now
you
we're
need it,
talking.
yes.
So,
Right.
come on,
Yeah.
put a full-time
You know what,
woman
it's
Woman
on it.
hosting help desk.
Yeah. Now that
Right.
you say it, I think
Yeah.
Rishi's the better comedian out of
Wow.
since we're going
Man.
there.
Is this help desk where the hosts need help? Or
Yeah, it's therapy for the host.
Yeah, man.
I actually haven't seen you perform ever. I've seen Sharul perform
Oh,
a few
wow.
times before.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But well, she will way to feel.
Am I missing out on anything?
It's a really good show, bro.
Okay.
You should come.
Yeah. Okay, wait. So I mean, speaking about the Singaporeans, Singaporean comedy scene, what do Singaporeans generally find funny? If you had to sum it up, what do they find funny?
Wow.
What is the Singaporean
Yeah.
humor? Yeah, what's Singaporean humor?
Yeah, I would like to know whether I fall in that category, Or am I slightly weirder than that?
Sorry, if you don't mind, may I share? Yeah.
You don't go on.
my
You started
opinion-
and you're asking me.
My opinion is that I think Singaporeans are very similar to audiences around the world
Okay.
in that they enjoy laughing about things that are about them.
Okay.
Because a Singaporean joke is very uniquely Singaporean. Like, there's a lot of parts of the world that will not understand the humor that a Singaporean will go nuts about.
Yeah.
If you talk about whatever, if you have a joke about COE suddenly and you think about doing it, even in Malaysia, they'll be like, huh, what is that? But a Singaporean who's trying to buy a car and can't afford it, and you tell him, oh, COE aspire, you know what I mean? But it's not something that can travel. So I think while Singaporeans are very global in our perspective, we are well-traveled, well-educated people, we still find things about us the funniest. That's my opinion right now. That's what I found.
Yeah.
I think there are two groups of people right now who watch stand-up comedy, right? And because we're an aging population, a large group are still older folks who still like your race-based humor. They like accents. They like, of course, local references and all of that. And then there's a new emerging audience, which is a mixture of your Gen Zs, millennials, plus your expats, who are like, we want different. Come and talk to me, about my issues, or like what's happening right now around the world, because this is too baseline. And I'm too cool for this local humor.
Yeah.
So it really is divided. So, like, for example, I open for Kumar all the time, and I do the local comedy scene as well.
Yeah.
And I see the audiences who come watch Kumar, and I see the local comedy scene where you have like expats and cool hip people watch it. They laugh at very different things. I can't bring the set that I bring to a local comedy club to a Kumar show, because the Kumar show people are like, what is that, right? Right? I hit me in the face with race-based humor, with accents, with talking about taxi drivers, our local food, what's happening in the parliament. Yeah, and you can see the difference.
Yeah. What do you guys prefer? Doing the small clubs or doing like, I don't know, a bigger thing like Esplanade? Don't say Esplanade just because your show is coming up. Yeah.
No, I think uniting these groups of audiences that Sharul is talking about is a true challenge of a comedian performing in Singapore.
Okay.
And sometimes the bigger the crowd, the bigger the variety, and you're forced as a comic to, okay, if you're going to go down the road of doing jokes about Singapore politics, for example, it's your duty as the comedian to make it relevant to someone who's an expat or to someone who's maybe visiting the country. How do you make that relevant? That's on you as a comic.
Yeah.
So I think performing in the clubs, it's more intimate. It gets you a chance to play a little bit and, unite that small group of 20, 30 people, which I think is more difficult, in my opinion, sometimes.
Yeah, it is way more difficult.
Really?
Yeah.
Sometimes doing the bigger rooms is a little easier to, again, if you've been doing your homework and practicing your set and you're a good comic, doing the smaller club sometimes is like running in the Alps and building your stamina. And then doing the bigger rooms is when, this is when I'm supposed to be ready for my marathon, flat ground. Let's go and kill it.
It's really an ego massage to do Esplanade or bigger theatres if you have been doing your work well and over the years, because it really, when 1,000 people are clapping and cheering for you, that's quite it's quite a
it's a high. It's a
high.
It's a drug that you can't purchase. It's a high that you can't. You keep chasing it. Right? It's the uniting people with involuntary laughter is truly something you can't. No amount of money can buy that. Like, you can't be a billionaire. Like Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, can't get natural laughter.
I mean, we're laughing at him.
Yeah.
Different, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not the same. He knows it. You know when people are laughing at you.
Yeah.
And you know when people are laughing at your jokes.
Yeah.
And I think the latter is very hard to recreate, no
Right.
matter how wealthy you are.
When you discover that, like, that brings energy, like that high that you're experiencing actually gives you so much pleasure also.
Wow. Cheryl?
Yeah, it's the best. It's the best. But even when you do smaller rooms, even if you have just like 50 people in an audience, when you're kind of bringing material together and it's flowing and it's all hitting the right notes, even that gives you a different kind of high. It's actually, for us, it's not really about the numbers anymore, since we've been doing it for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's really about the material that you wrote in the dark at night and laughed to yourself. When you brought it to the room, oh my God, even they are laughing. Yes. So it's like earning money, You know when you play one of those video games and you can hear the ching 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 ching, then you're like, oh my God, yes, money,
As they
money.
laugh.
Yes, they're laughing. I can hear money.
That's true, right?
Yeah.
Because, okay, and Cheryl, tell me if this has happened to you. Okay, sometimes you're sitting in the back of the green room. The green room is, where you're waiting before you go on stage, and you write a new bit, like a new thought comes, and you laugh to yourself sometimes. You're like, and you talk to comics and you go like, man, this is so freaking funny, right? And on a good day, it's as funny to the rest of the crowd. But on a shit day, right, it can be funny only to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
go on stage and you're like, damn it, man, this was so funny in my head. Why is it not landing? And so that's why you kind of record yourself, you voice record or video record yourself, you go back and you kind of listen, okay, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
You know? Because if you thought of something that's funny, it probably was, but how do you translate that to the show?
Yeah.
Do you need to fix a word here? You need to change your expression? Do you need to drop something? You need to add some context? What is it? And I think that process of what Cheryl's talking about is what we kind of really enjoy. Enjoy getting it from that funny thought in your head to a killer joke on stage that lands with the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you
and
guys are. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I mean, you guys are seasoned pros. I mean, I think some of the more recognizable comics in Singapore. Do you guys still flop or bomb on stage?
Absolutely, because what happens is it takes more than just jokes to do these rooms.
Okay.
You are essentially a performer who goes onto stage cold room, which is why I like to do Kumar's opening for Kumar's shows, because they didn't buy the ticket to watch me. So I go on and it's a completely cold room. They're not ready for comedy yet.
Yeah.
They've been waiting for someone else, and now I come on, and now it's to warm up the audience. When you're a warm-up act, it's never going to be the same as the main act, because before you, someone has gone and tickled the audience a bit before you really make them laugh. So there's a lot more. It's about reading the room, reading the energy of the room. So it takes more than just the jokes. I can take the same joke to a full audience that's been laughing for 30 minutes and that might kill, and I can bring the same joke and open with the room, and that's just going to be like, then you're like, but it's the best bit I have,
Yeah.
So it takes way more. You sometimes will go up and people are not laughing. Like I've opened a show for Kumar recently at Ikigai, and there were a bunch of drunk folks, right? And they were really after KTV, very drunk. And like Chinese people can't handle the alcohol, so
See, that's a beautiful detail.
They can't.
They came to comedy after KTV.
KTV, they cannot. There are a majority number of Chinese people who don't. And like the bottle of sake was there, and I was like, oh my God. And they were screaming at me whilst I was doing the joke. So I had to stop.
Oh my gosh.
And then I had to roast them.
Right.
And then after I roasted them, and then everybody else is laughing. And after some point, people are getting pissed off. And then I told them, listen, you are being disrespectful to the craft. I'm only the opening act, but Kumar is coming. So if you are going to disrupt it for the Queen, you better be ready. So I did my set. I had to go for another set, so I left. And then later on, Kumar was like, I gave it off to them very nicely. And then they shut up because they're like, oh my God, we've pissed off, And then other people were laughing, and then they didn't come back after the break because they were too drunk.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Kumar does a
finished-
lot of crowd work actually.
He does. I think he only the second half is a lot of crowd work. The first
Okay.
half is always jokes.
Yeah.
Second half, he does like the birthdays. He was very famous for doing birthdays and bachelorettes. And but yeah, first half he does a lot of jokes, and he's got like 10 hours of material behind his head. So he pulls out as and when.
Okay, whatever he's feeling.
Whatever he's
in the
feeling.
moment. Yeah, that's
So,
amazing.
yeah.
I went to see a show of his 1 or 2 years ago, and like, I don't know if I was naive or what, but I didn't realize there'd be so much drag
Yeah.
queen performances in the show.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I just went with my partner, and she was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, let's just go see Kumar."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I was very surprised when people started dancing on stage."
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't expect it at all.
I think that's a genre that Kumar kind of grew up with.
Yes,
Yeah,
In,
yes.
okay.
the rooms. It was before Kumar was known as a stand-up comedian per se.
Yeah,
Kumar was a drag
was
comedian,
doing drag,
which
Okay,
involved
interesting.
the performers doing the opening dance,
Mm.
which involved the costumes, which involves a little bit of roasting of the crowd, which involves, like Sharul said, the birthdays, the bachelorette parties. People would go to watch the show planning to sabotage their friend getting
Yeah.
married.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Rita. Rita is getting married. And Rita is like with the sash and the queen. And,
Like as if nobody could see that she was getting married,
What?
It's
You
so-
don't say. That
Yeah.
girl? Really?
But you see, I think because of social media, I would say it's slightly easier for us than
Okay.
people like the performers who've been doing it for a long time, like Kumar, because he came up at a time where there was no social media, and he had to build his audience one show at a time.
Yes.
And because he obviously is of his gender orientation is different. He's from the LGBTQ community. Putting him on TV with a dress was not a possibility. So there was a long time before even MediaCorp could accept or put him on to the shows. So for 10 years, he was like, I'll just do shows 7 days a week and build my audience. And can you imagine, after so many years, this is hard work. He never had to be like, let me post my reel today so people will know me, and then I'll go viral on TikTok, and then people are going to watch my show. And that's why when we see like, hey, why is this video not going viral? I have to keep reminding myself that, hey, hard work, just do it. Just one show at a time,
Yeah.
And you never know who sees it.
Right.
Can I go back to bombing a little bit?
Sure.
What do you do when you tell a joke on stage and like no one laughs at all? What goes through your mind? How do you deal with that?
Of course, I mean, sir, I hate it, but it's part of the craft, right? I mean, you have a new thought, you try it, it doesn't always work. But what I've learned as a comic is that you can never be afraid of a silent crowd. That's the number one lesson that I tried to figure out early.
It's like you go to IKEA, Zach, and you see a pack of 10 dogs in Tampines, and they look at you wearing that cap that you should not be wearing.
Yeah.
And they run after you. And you're like, I am going to get screwed. So you can literally feel your balls in your mouth. And that's exactly how it feels.
Okay.
Damn.
Because sorry, was that too much? Well, you
I don't
literally...
know whose balls you are putting in your mouth, but sure.
My own, Rishi.
Yeah.
So, literally you feel like your life is in danger. And you need to rescue yourself as fast as possible.
All right.
And that's the exact feeling that one has when their first, second, third joke bombs. You want to run away, but you can't run away.
Yep.
Your fear of flight, what is it called?
Fight or flight.
Fight or flight kicks in, which is why they say that public speaking is what people fear the most, even before death, right? Is that right?
Yeah. The biggest fear even ahead of death.
Yeah.
And she's actually made a very good analogy, because sometimes we say that the audience, and this might sound wrong, but they say the audience is like dogs in the sense that they can sense fear.
Yeah.
Oh.
So if you as a
I don't
comic,
think so.
Yeah.
if you as a comic go on stage and a joke doesn't land and you're afraid and you're not comfortable, your discomfort spreads into that room and the audience starts getting like, oh shit, like what's
Maybe
gonna
not
happen?
like very funny lah.
Is this gonna suck? Like, are we? Because nobody comes to a show, at least in Singapore. Right?
Yeah.
Nobody has come to a show hoping it's gonna suck. Right? Everyone
I
pays
mean-
money for a stand-up show, right?
Yeah.
Someone buys a ticket, and hoping, oh my God, I hope this is a fantastic night. I'm so looking forward to it. Very few people, maybe you get like 1% going like, let's see if this person can make me. I mean, look, like, I've never watched him before. I watched his wife, I watched Kumar, but I've never watched Rishi before. Let's see if there's anything to this guy. So maybe, Zach's like that, but not everybody else.
And it happens. It
Yeah.
happens, yeah.
And it's also a thin line between not showing your fear and then not becoming cocky.
Okay, yeah.
It's very thin line. You
Right.
can't be like, wow, it was so funny, why you never laugh? Some people do that.
That's the worst, man.
It's the worst. You can never do that. And then you still can't be like, sorry, not funny. You have to just be like, moving on, or making it look like there's actually something bigger coming. You have to really, you must have that game face.
Yeah.
It's like when you're getting married for the first time and you have to give your speech. When you see like boys giving speech and they have to give like they know they've prepared it. And they still have to look like I knew it. And this, my wife actually did not proofread it. It is, it's like when people get, those people who go to East Coast Park. And then the next day you see videos and photos of the proposal and the girl looks shocked.
Yeah.
But it's planned.
But they've got their BTO waiting for them.
Absolutely. And there was a photographer hiding in the bushes. And there was a videographer on the other side. And she still acts shocked.
Yeah.
It's that response you have to be. You'll be like, yeah. I still got to act like I know it. Because you know what? My friends are going to like this picture. And they're going to be like, oh my God, you're so lucky. But she planned it. She planned it.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Is that what you're going to do, Michelle?
Yeah, I think I would. I
Yeah,
would.
right? You
Yeah.
plan it, right?
Good,
Because you're
yeah.
like, and you tell the guy, don't screw it up. Don't screw it up. Don't you?
Yeah, I'll give you my
Make
best
sure you get
game
it at the
face.
right
Yeah.
moment where the
But,
sun
yeah.
is in the right spot.
Yeah, you gotta
Exactly.
plan it,
Light
man.
looks good.
Make sure you lift me up so that the sun is coming out of my shoulder blade
Ooh,
in the
yes.
background at Sentosa.
How did you propose, Rishi?
It was I didn't have the budget for all this shit, bro. Like, I mean,
So-
for me, it was like I spent all my life savings on a diamond ring, right?
Yeah.
And I was left with only the budget to buy Ferrero Rocher chocolate, the 3-pack. So it was quite tough times, man.
And
you
then
know?
he told his sister, who's very good at art and craft, or at least she thinks so, to hide. So she opened up the Ferrero Rocher.
No way.
And she put like 2 shells inside and put the ring inside, and she wrapped it back again and gave it to the brother. So the effort was really a family effort.
basket. That was your
No,
sister,
family.
not my sister.
Family effort, all right?
It was
Stop it, family effort. And then like he's like, hey, you want chocolate? And I'm like, what chocolate? Ferrero Rocher. I'm like, I'm not in the mood for Ferrero Rocher, but okay.
she
And I
nearly
open-
choked on the ring.
And I open it up and then I put it in my mouth and I'm like, why is
Pop it.
it so hot? And then there's a ring
You
inside.
put the shell in your mouth.
Yeah, I
you didn't even
did.
look. You weren't looking at.
No,
the...
no, they covered it very nice. It was like, you know, they
Oh.
opened the chocolate up and they disgustingly put it together and then there was
Oh.
a
I'm
shell.
surprised that when
Whose
you took
idea
it back
was this?
out, it didn't fall apart.
She, as I said, she's very good at art and craft. Or at least she
Yeah.
thinks.
Very, very talented.
Wow.
You thought this was a good idea, Rishi.
Obviously, you don't. The way you're asking this
No,
question.
Cheryl doesn't seem like
I
she
don't
thought
think
it was
so.
a good
It was,
idea.
bad. It was so
Bruh.
bad.
Imagine
It was
she's
the worst idea.
So memorable. You
And
still
I was sitting
remember.
at my place with my mother next to me. And then I was just like,
Whoa.
and I'm like, and he's like, will you marry? Then I'm like, will I marry you? Like,
Where were you? Like just
at
sitting
home,
on a
at my
sofa?
house. He just like, no, this is a chocolate for you. Now I'm like,
Bruh, come on. Like, look, it was. She didn't see it coming at all. She had no
I
idea.
never saw you coming either, Rishi.
Yeah. Thank you very much for
Wow.
that. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
But there
Welcome
was
to
no-
Mothership.
Yeah.
Mothership.
I need a help. I need a help furniture, bro. Not just a desk. I need a whole help house. The whole idea is that those surprises were so cliched, right? Like, so she was always roasting these surprises. Like, this
Aw.
girl obviously she knows that the
Yeah,
husband.
always look at it.
And I
Yeah.
was just, I'm a good receiver
Yeah.
of information.
You took it all in.
I'm listening. I'm like, aha. So if I were to do this, she's not gonna like it.
Yes.
So I said, let me go to the other end of it. Let me
Yeah.
go to the other extreme
Wow.
and be super low key about it. And boom, like I reserve
Loki
most.
was an understatement.
Hey, bro, I reserved most of the budget for the actual real
The ring was,
diamond.
actually, the ring was nice. It was a proper diamond. No, this is also bought recently, but this is not
Yes.
the wedding ring.
Okay.
Oh.
Because he's upgraded, because he's been 10 years. So this is upgrade.
Ooh.
And as he was about to pay for it, my
COE
in-laws stepped in and they're like,
COE
no.
renew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm into jewels like this past since October.
Just I wanted to add one thing about that whole bombing thing. So what a lot of comics do nowadays, actually traditionally, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of this, right? But I know a lot of comics get themselves out of this hole by acknowledging the bomb.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh.
If a
Yeah,
joke
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
land, they have like a safe word or a safe line to go like, yeah, that was a new bit. And people are like, oh wow, so funny, so clever. You are addressing the fact that your joke sucks. Okay, now I give you the benefit of the doubt because you are so comfortable with yourself. So a lot of
Right.
comics do that. It's like, yeah, that didn't work. Okay, next up. So acknowledging the bomb is one way to do it.
Yeah.
Some comics do it.
But you don't like to do that.
I don't like to do that. I'm like, come on lah, take it on the chin lah. Like, I mean, you can see my chin, right? It's quite big, right? So I can take a lot. I can take a
didn't
lot
know.
on my
I
chin.
was like, literally or
It's blocking your
No.
wife's face.
I know it is, right?
But one thing I
Basket.
don't like when the comedians sometimes do, one or
Yeah.
two, is when they think the audience is stupid. You know,
Okay.
they kind of become like so like
talking
talking
to the
down to the audiences.
Yeah.
With stand-up comedy, it's always making it look like the audience is in control, but actually you are in control.
Okay.
That's the whole
Okay.
thing.
Wow,
Interesting.
nice,
Yeah.
nice one.
Who were the people that you were looking up to when you guys were starting your comedy careers?
Oh, he's in jail. Bill Cosby.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we had like a comedian's wall.
Yes,
Remember
we
you,
did.
you
Oh,
prepared a
wow.
wall and as
And one by one, I started taking it down.
yeah, because it's like
In your house?
Yes.
Okay.
Louis C.K. was up there. She
Then he
removed
took it down. I was like very
Bill
sad.
Cosby was there. She removed
I
it.
removed it.
think the
Someone else was sexual assault, and then I'm like,
The surviving members, I think Eddie Murphy's still up there.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Seinfeld is still up there.
Yes. And some Indian Indian and Pakistani comedians that we watched growing up,
Okay.
who are still
Russell
up there.
Peters still there.
Yeah, Russell Peters is such a sweet guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys have met Russell.
I've met him a few times. I hung out at his house when I went to the US
Wow,
last
okay.
time.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah.
really
Of
cool guy.
all these comedians, who was the nicest in person?
To me, I got to say Russell. Russell Peters has been very generous to me. Like, he's like a proper Indian uncle.
Okay.
Like, why are you not eating? Why are you not drinking? Come on, drink. No, come to my house. And I'm like, are you sure? Yeah, come to my house. So now, after some gigs in LA, Russell Peters headlines the show. I'm invited backstage as one of the comics, hanging out with some comics that I know.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm in his kitchen, and his wife is complaining about some other comedian who stole Russell Peters' jokes, and we're eating burritos, hanging out with his dogs, and it was just a very, very down to earth, kind of simple, chill out family supper.
Okay.
And I really appreciated that, despite all his success. And as Russell Peters has a lot of naysayers in this day and age, because a lot of young comics are like, yeah, Russell is old news.
Yeah.
Russell used to be the, but he's still coming to do like indoor stadium in Singapore. He's still touring the world. People still buy tickets to watch it. He's still making a killing. He's still, headlining shows, doing live stuff, touring. So I think
He was still the reason why Asian comedy had a boom.
a lot
sure.
of brown comics actually, like got inspired. I know I was one of those. Yeah.
But I'll still say something, and I think this is, I believe this. You can't, whether it's a stand-up comedian, singer, actor, I think people should start having their discretion and stop thinking they're God. Really, people really worship these stars, and then the star ends up doing something really stupid, and people are like, oh, how could he? No, because you should learn how to separate the art from the artist.
Yeah.
Right.
I know personally comedians who might be really big names who have gone up and done all these self-righteous humor and painted themselves as heroes, but they go off stage and they say the nastiest things that you would be like, are you a empathetic human being?
Yeah.
So this is something I don't buy. Unless I hang with them, I know them personally, and I'm like, okay, this person is a good person and also happens to be a stand-up comedian. And that's not the formula for success. It doesn't mean that you're a very successful comedian or an artist, you're going to be a great human being.
Yeah.
You can be a mediocre comedian, great human being. You can be it comes in all combinations lah.
Yeah.
So I don't idolize any of them anymore.
Do you find it hard to enjoy their comedy after, the scandal happens?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I know a stand-up comedian who I really started disrespecting in the past 2 years, and a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, good comedian, great comedian, and because I had a personal experience with him, I'm like, nope, can't watch your comedy, can't respect you. Anything you say on stage is not coming from a place of truth anymore. So I can't see it.
I think personal experience is what is the distinguishing factor here, right? Like, because
Yeah.
you read about these negative things, and sometimes you're like, oh, okay, I understand the case, I understand the scandal, I understand that there's all these allegations, accusations. But if you haven't had a personal experience, sometimes you're like, okay, maybe I could still watch this comedian. But if you've had a personal negative experience,
I mean, that would make it.
that's like impossible
super
already.
tough. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
it's very hard. I think.
Like recently with the whole, Gaza issue that happened, it really divided audiences, because there were some people who were saying, this artist that I looked up to supports the, war, or supports the killing of so many people. Sorry, cannot drop the artist.
Yeah.
You see, and that was a defining moment for a lot of people, like
boycotting the artist,
the
don't buy
artist
their
because
tickets.
the artist went, I'm sorry, I support, Israel. And then people are like, what? And then, it made a very big difference. It really came down to, you as an artist can decide whether you want to put out your voice and say, okay, this is what I support. Or you can be the artist who said, I silently support who I support, and I don't have to put it out there. But when you support a group of people, right or wrong, I don't know, I can't judge. I can't say it like that. But, you get shocked. You're like, what? I watch you for years and you support this? People start unfollowing them.
Yeah.
I know personally, people are like, okay, we were comedians, we were throwing these things at each other. One or two comedians, we were talking, and they're like, so would you open for this guy? But he supports this group.
Yeah.
So would you still open? I'm like, sorry, I can't open. I cannot.
Okay.
Because it's my own. Some comedians are very opportunist. They'll be like, open now, let's open. I'll get so many audience. I open now, become famous. Who cares? So you sleep with yourself at night lah. And a lot of people got no conscience. Is that too much to say?
No. I think it's fair. I think it's that discussion that all artists have.
Yeah.
Can you sit at a table as an artist with someone who has a different political inclination to you, a different political view or a different worldview than you, right?
Yeah.
So can you be on the same table with them? you may not be able to work because we all have friends who have different views,
different
right?
views,
Who
yeah.
will vote differently, for example, who will support different causes that you may not necessarily support. Does that mean you don't sit at the same table with them? Does that mean you don't have a drink with them? Or what are your boundaries? Does that mean you just will not choose to work with them or
Yeah.
open for them maybe?
You
But
you can be friends
Yeah.
as human beings, but then I also feel that because everybody is here with the whole their 5 seconds of fame is very important to them. Everybody
Yeah.
wants to be famous, right? Who doesn't want to be famous? But I do believe that there's a lack of empathy, and people are not very ethical. I would take rather 10 years in the same profession to become famous if I'm doing ethically. But if I'm doing it for the 2 years of quickly, fast, but I'm going to be a terrible human being, at some point, it's going to come out. Like Bill Cosby. He did only family-friendly material.
Yeah.
Would have done really great. But when you go back to what he did, he was a terrible human being, you know?
man.
So what happened to all of that? Like, wow, I was your reputation is here, and that's all you got, right? Your reputation, like, go all the way down. So I think as a millennial, I'm still old school, because my parents are immigrants. So I feel like your reputation and your respect is still a huge thing.
What legacy
What
are
legacy
you
you
leaving
leave?
behind
Yeah.
for the generations? I think that's a big part of the work that we do because
Right.
I think we are all aware that we are in show business, and I always say that although the word it's show business, but the word business is the longer one in it. So if you're going to be doing business in creativity, you better do it ethically because anyone can have a hot year, a quick get rich scheme or get famous scheme very fast, but what you find is that most of them who do the shortcuts or the fast games, they don't last very long in the industry. They have quick hot years.
Yeah.
Maybe they make a bunch of money, get a lot of fame, and then internally, wow, I don't know, man.
Very
I don't know.
fast.
Okay, you brought up the topic of money.
Yeah.
I'm curious, would you describe yourselves as full-time stand-up comedians? I mean, I know you guys do other things. Sharul, I believe you teach still. Is that correct?
No,
Or
no.
have you stopped lecturing?
She
I don't
lectures
know.
me, lah.
Yeah.
Really.
I used to teach speech and drama when I
Okay.
first started.
Okay.
But no, we have both full-time stand-up comedians.
Okay.
I've started going to India quite a bit to sort of break into that market because it's a bigger market, and I
Yeah.
feel, India has endless possibilities, amazing
A lot of people.
opportunities, a lot of money,
Volume.
and people are generally very nice for the
Okay.
most part. And since the Malaysian scene has kind of closed up for Singaporean comedians and for many comedians, we have to sort of explore. Also, because I'm a female comedian in the scene, you see, I have to work harder. I mean, I won't take away from the male comedians; they also have to work hard, but I have to work harder.
Okay.
For my
Why do you say
opportunities.
that?
Because again, it's still an Asian community.
Yeah.
And they still find male comedians to be safer. It's the same thing, female to male ratio in leadership roles across
Okay.
even Singapore industries, parliament, everywhere. It's your token. You become the token comedian, and you just have to fight it all the way, and then you have to look back and try to help other female comedians up as well.
Yeah.
It's definitely harder because someone like Sharul is a minority within a minority within a minority. So she's a female of
Yeah.
Indian origin in stand-up comedy. That's like minority to the power of 3.
Yeah.
Right? And the problem with such a thing is that the audience only sees someone like that once they have succeeded. Right? And then everybody will be like, yeah, of course, it's so you were born to succeed, man. Come on, right? There's so few females, less competition. So few Indian females, so few females in comedy. Come on, man. Yeah, because it's like Ali Wong says, right? Because historically, being like minority female, that's been the winning combo for everything, right? In life, obviously not. So the challenge is that once it's a very hard road initially, which we always discuss, for someone like her. But once you kind of get past that hard road,
Yeah.
and once people start seeing you, then you really become like this special diamond that everyone wants to figure out. And I think she's worked
Also, I'm
very
a
hard to get
feminist, you
there.
see. So, and I speak up. I mean, at least I always associate myself with female rights, and there's a majority of Asian men who are not comfortable with that. So
Yeah,
you have to keep. I mean, it's not about putting the men down. It's
Yeah.
about just finding your footing and just equal rights, basic equal rights is what we're talking about.
I mean, not just in Asia, right? Even in the West, like a lot of
Yes,
pushback
absolutely.
on some of these ideals or these things.
But like feminism means different things in different countries, right? Like Singapore feminism is something else, and India it's like some people are just wanting proper sanitation when they are on their periods, and some people are like, no, can I have leadership role? And then others are like, no, I want to be able to not shave my armpits when I'm wearing like sleeveless. So feminism is different. You know, for some places it's progressed. Some fights we are still fighting. But it's not against men. It's against the system that has to educate everybody. Yeah. So dangerous.
So how sustainable is it? Sorry to bring it back to the.
Yep.
I mean, the thing about money. How sustainable is it to be a stand-up comic in Singapore?
Actually, I will just differ a little bit. I don't think I'm a full-time stand-up comedian.
Okay.
Actually, I ran away from it to make money. Like my aim of doing stand-up comedy was to do something enjoyable with my art that I didn't have to rely on as a job. Because I trained as an actor. Both of us kind of did, right?
Yeah.
My bread and butter was teaching, was hosting live events on TV or whether it was web series or whatever. And I started doing stand-up because it was the freest form of artistic expression I could find. And the irony is that nobody knew who I was as an actor or host or whatever until I started doing stand-up comedy. And that became my identity.
Yeah.
So even till today, I try to stay away from doing too much stand-up unless I've got a show coming up or unless I have a new thought or a new theme I want to tackle. Then you will see me at the clubs all the time. Like, I'm running here, I'm doing 3 shows a night, I'm working on the new act or I'm touring or whatever. But then I like to stay away from it for a while.
Okay.
Because
stay away as in like complete, like you won't even go to shows?
There will be sometimes, there will be months in a year where I'm maybe working on a theater show or I'm working on like NDP the last time. I don't get to go to the clubs, or whether I'm going to work on a new TV show for CNA, for example.
Yeah.
I think staying away from the funny kind of makes you miss it a little bit. And then when you come back, you're like, wow,
This is what I've been
this
missing.
is what I've been missing,
But
man.
you don't really stay away from it. Like, then it just comes out at home or like, more than like it's just not staying away. Then
It's
all the
not
dark jokes come out, and then it comes out. I'm just like, Rishi, shut up. This is not. But no, it comes out at home.
I try to do some serious stuff.
Yeah.
So that when I go back to the funny, it feels more real. It's
No, but then he comes back and he's like, I was at the NDP and this joke came into my mind, but I could not tell anybody. Can I tell you? Then I'm like, yeah, of course you can tell me.
How about doing the dress
Audience are one.
rehearsals? Do you do it? Will you do it during the dress rehearsals?
So what happened for the year that I hosted the NDP was that I did a stand-up show 2 weeks after I hosted NDP, and the show was called Exposed.
Okay.
So it was literally all the jokes that I couldn't do at the parade.
Okay.
So it was Exposed 2022, and so I got it out of my system. The colonel, who was the chair of the committee, was there in the audience, and he's like, Rishi, well done, bro, really, really funny. And then they never called me back after that. So let's see,
because
man.
like they
Don't
need
know
to
lah.
make sure that they rotate all the Indians for the token Indian. Then it was
Bro.
Abby. Then they have to come on. You can't be the only Indian.
Yeah.
I can't be.
Give it.
As a former guest on Help Desk said, his name Das Didi, he said every national day must have the Chinese guy, you must have the Indian guy, you must have the Malay guy, then you must have Joachim as well.
Yeah, Joachim.
Right?
Joachim is a fixture. I think they should take out the face of the Malayan and put Joachim's face there. Wow.
Okay, full disclosure, working on NDP with Joke, I really think there's nobody in the country who was more born to host NDP than Joachim was. I mean, I've been there at a live show where we had an emergency crisis, and the directors did not even look left or right to any of the hosts. They straight away gave the instruction to Joachim because he had to go on live TV and announce, because there was an accident with one of our parachutists, right? The Red Lions. And he had to go and make an announcement that balances the audience watching live that this dude is okay, that balances the TV audience at home that we're going to carry on with the celebrations, and you need the perfect tone to deliver this announcement. It can't be taught to you. You can't train in it. You can't do it. It's just something that you need to understand. And Joachim understands that shit.
But you see, that's the thing. He's amazing and he does it really well. You're also from Wee Kim Wee School of Communications. So I think you all can, right? Because a comedian would just go up and say, it happened now then. Now let's see lah, okay or not. Then okay lah, you all just take a break. You know, like
Yeah.
you know,
Or do you find that is your impulse to break the tension to say something
say a joke.
funny?
Cannot. NDP cannot.
Yeah, of course.
But you wanted to.
I mean, you look. Not say cannot.
so
but
many times I was watching Rishi on on television.
You know.
I know that his eyes are like,
I have a
and
joke.
that's right. And let's
Okay,
move on to.
I got my moments when I got a chance to play with the crowd. Because that's when I was given the license by Adrian, the director. Like, okay, look, you're going to go into the crowd. There's going to be, you can interact with them. That's where you can go nuts a bit. And that was a lot of fun. I think we had a lot of memeable moments in the audience. But during the parade, cannot lah.
Yeah, even President Star Charity, Rishi, when I could see your eyes, like you are giving the, because I can read his thoughts, because I've lived with him for so long. So he's giving the really professional, everything is professional. Audience cannot tell. But then in his eyes, right, there's a look of, I'm going to talk about this later to my wife.
I had to ask whether I could get away with some jokes. And I could only get away with the TV-friendly, family-friendly joke because I'm joking about the president, man. And one of the jokes that they allowed me to do was, welcome everybody to President Star Charity. I'm very happy because me and the president have something in common. Silence what? It is both our first President Star Charity, everybody. Such a TV joke. But what to do? That's the only thing they approve. So many
I'll
other-
tell you how inappropriate it can get because, okay, we don't want to be inappropriate. We went to some really old person's funeral. Very old person means like time to die. Like it's not like early death, time to die. And we're standing across the coffin and Rishi and I are looking at each other and then we are so scared. Our eyes meet and then we look down, our eyes meet again and we have a joke in mind, ready. And then now I cannot control my laughter. So I have started giggling over the death of over this body. I'm not laughing at him. It's just like, and I've got this call face.
we have to avoid eye contact.
Then I'm like, then I have to act that I'm crying.
Right.
Now
'cause
everybody
you
is
can't
wondering why
she
is
starts
this
holding her face. And I'm like, oh shit, what happened, man? And I go and grab her and I hold her. And then I realize she's actually laughing. I'm like,
and he has to grab me out
Bastards,
because I'm like, y'all basket, y'all why, y'all look at me, why, y'all because as we are watching, we're thinking about stuff and people will react differently at funerals, right?
Yeah.
Like some people will be like, hey, why did you go so early? I want to come with you. And in my mind it's like, go lah then. Put the person on the funeral pyre, both of you go. But you're like, you know how people react very differently at funerals, right? Then you're like, and then there'll always be one auntie who will be like, oh, the body's not in the right direction. If you face this direction, it's better.
and some uncle brings out the iPhone to get the compass.
And
like,
they're like,
where is
yeah,
northeast?
and you're like, and it's very funny. And you're like, oh, can't wait to just like, this uncle must be thinking like, go already. Then all these idiots around me who are like,
And you think like this way, uncle got no direction in life. Can't even see where's the...
and now this is happening. And a very close friend of ours passed on, Rishi's best friend actually. And remember we were there, it was COVID time. Only 14 or passes were given because it was COVID. And we were very upset. We were very sad.
2020.
2020.
Yeah.
And very upset, very sad. All the friends are there. We are broken inside. And one guy who managed to get a last minute ticket, whom we don't like, who he didn't like, right?
No way.
Yeah, didn't like.
Yeah.
Made fun of him his whole life. Decided that I want to be here. And so he went there. And now he's standing over the coffin and he's giving like 3-shot camera reactions. One of those people who are very extra. And I like really like. And then like all the friends are looking at each other like, why is this DF standing here acting like, and then he's like throwing the flowers also like, really liked him. And I'm like, at some point, our friend's gonna get up, slap him and say, shut up, Lau. I don't like you, And we're like, I'm looking at my Rishi going like, who gave him this ticket? Who gave him this ticket? Why did you even? And he barged into in the car. He's like, I have to go because he was my good friend. He didn't like you. That guy had like 101 jokes about this. Sorry. So it's difficult. Yeah, we crack jokes in during tough times to sort of release tension for ourselves.
Would you guys say you have a similar sense of humor?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
No.
No.
But if you could stare in his eyes and know what he's thinking and the joke that he's about
That's
to
not
crack.
having a similar sense of humor. That's understanding. Let's sharing some funny stuff. But when we perform, it's very different. But maybe we can find the same things funny. But when we deliver, we have different.
But I get what she's saying. It's, what? When you understand someone else's sense of humor,
Yeah.
you understand the humor. So you can
Yeah.
understand which wavelength they are on. And he can understand which wavelength I'm on. So we can relate. And I can now read his thoughts. It forms.
And also, I think knowing each other we've known each other for like 18 years, right?
Yeah.
Now, and knowing what makes her laugh and she knowing what makes me laugh, it's not necessarily what will make the audience laugh. because you will probably not get what you're saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
well, like
yeah.
you like if
There's so many inside jokes.
yeah, there's too much inside jokes, but that's enough for us. That's good for us. But when we perform, we are very different characters, lah. We are true to who we are
Yeah.
for our audiences, but that's very different from each other. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like before we were coming here.
Yeah. Oh boy. What
Like you see, you know already. Like before
Yeah.
we come here, yeah, lah, better do this interview for Mothership. Then we'll promote the show. Wow, I hope it's not boring. Yeah. You know, but you all are not hearing this, right? But now, anytime it's a boring moment, Rishi and I think
Then you look at each other.
wow, like no, like you know,
That was that moment.
podcast, some more, not even like
podcast, some
TV,
more live. Then like
Yeah.
wow,
not even like full visual, only
some more
cut
Mothership.
outs.
Wow,
Not
lah,
MediaCorp, not the big
That's why
leagues.
I don't know whether
yeah,
going to be online before our show.
Yeah. Then
know
are they
whether-
going to be entertaining or not? But then it's been great.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Nice.
much.
Yeah.
Okay, are you guys ready to go to the audience questions?
Of course we are,
Sure.
man.
Yeah.
We were born for audience questions.
Awesome. I mean, that's what you guys.
Control your confidence.
No, it's not. I don't know whether we can answer the questions, but we will take them.
That's what you guys. So you said earlier that you'll be doing questions from the floor
Yes.
at your show. Will it be like advice or will it be questions about your life? What kind of?
We don't know
questions are
what
you
questions
expecting?
the bloody
Oh, I
audience is going to
see.
ask.
Sometimes they ask
Okay.
us really ridiculous
Stupid
questions.
And
Okay.
if the questions are dumb, right, we will scold the audience. We don't care. Because they would have already bought tickets.
Yeah.
Do you
they
do this
know.
at all your shows, at the previous ones?
So we've been touring our dual show in a few cities. Like we were in Cape Town a few months back.
Okay.
We were in Jakarta. We were in Bangalore.
Yeah.
And yeah, we take questions from the crowd, and it's been quite interesting, lah. As
Yeah,
in-
people ask really, I mean, no judgment on the audiences.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
of different EQ and IQ level come there. Just accept everybody for who they are.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
just, unless it's really out lah.
Earnest questions, or are we
Yeah.
talking like
Some of them are really earnest
Earnest,
questions,
yeah.
Can I
like
get one example, like
What-
of
yeah,
a
what-
question that threw you off?
threw us off.
Okay, one question we get, I have been asked, or we both have been asked before is, when one of you is more famous, does the other person get insecure about it?
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah,
You know
real
that kind of
questions,
thing? Then
yes.
you're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
But in that session, wow.
At the end of our show, so we've both done our sets,
Yeah.
right.
and
Yeah.
touch wood, so far it's been going okay.
Yeah, everyone's
and then
been laughing.
at the end, we're like, okay, come. We just grab a couple of stools and like, what do y'all want to know? Come. We promised you we will answer some questions.
Now
and,
it's
then,
time for introspection.
and if most of the time we get like either at India, Cape Town, we get a lot of like Asian or brown audiences. Jakarta also very brown, and Indians.
Am I right saying there's a lot of Indians in Cape
yeah,
Town?
they don't care. They will ask questions
Indians have a lot of money.
Okay.
and a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And they feel like because they have paid money, it's their right to ask more questions.
They feel
Oh.
like they need to have their voice heard in a show
Right.
because they paid money.
Yeah.
So what's your answer to that question? Do you get insecure if the other becomes more famous?
I think when we first started out, we were both grappling with that because we were not clear about where we were in our careers.
Are you
know?
competitive people?
You know, after we only had one fight about this, and it was not a fight; it was a discussion. And I told him because people, right, would pit us against each other. Like Rishi and I both would get messages on Facebook, and sometimes these are known people,
Yeah.
where they'll be like, "How do you feel? Your husband is funnier, or how do you feel? Your wife is funnier?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I remember.
we sat down and we came down to this thing that Rishi and I are fruits, and we have seasonal fruits. So if one is a durian, one is a mango, it has its season, and you cannot be like, why is the mango selling more? Durian's not going to be like, why is the mango? And mango is going to be, why is durian selling? I'm not durian because I smell well, but I would say it's Rishi. And
I love durian smell.
yeah, and
Sound good.
and so you have to make peace with the fact that you are a different product on the line.
And actually, that's also one of the reasons we don't do the dual show too often.
Right.
Okay.
Right, because we made a conscious decision that look, let's go out and build our individual careers because we've decided this is what we want to do, right? So we built our own audiences, and we have very different audiences,
Yeah.
just based on the genre of humor that we do, right?
Yeah.
And in case we get separated, I don't want any of us to be out of work. In fact, I should be able to, like my new husband, like put up a new show.
Good luck with that. Good luck finding someone who can do that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's why we only do it once every 5 years. Right? 2015 we did the first one.
Yeah.
2020 we did the second one, and now it's
Yes.
2025. And it wasn't planned, but it just turns out that we've been doing a lot of stuff solo. Let's see whether we can do something together, and it just turns
But
out.
it takes a lot of navigation because we have two
Yeah.
different styles. Like Rishi is slower at getting ready sometimes, and I'm like sometimes faster. And then we are both like, I'm at the door going, can you faster? And then he will walk out, and at least like 9 out of 10 times he will leave his key in the house, and he has to run back, and I'm just sitting outside going, Rishi, why can't you? Then he's like, dude, stop it, okay? I'm the one who's planning this, and you are just walking up on stage. So we have a lot of Rishi is actually very hands-on with the production as well, which makes a big difference, because if I'm producing my show with my manager, then we are both in it. But when Rishi's producing it and he's a stickler for details, I feel like I can just be like, oh my God, this is amazing. I just have to perform. I love it.
Other than the last part, everything is pof marble. Okay, the first part, all pof ma.
So slow. Rishi is very slow.
That's me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Every time we leave the house, I always have to run back in to get something.
Yeah.
Or
But it's
I've
not
forgotten
true, bro.
something.
That's not me. You
No,
and I
he
are
is.
not the
He's
same. Looking for
Rishi,
allies, man.
I was just
Rishi is very
Kidding,
slow.
okay. That's happened. That happened today, to be fair,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes it happens because I'm doing
No, he's slow.
Just
what I try to do for the woman that I love, who is also happens to be my
My mother?
co-performer in this show, is that I do my best to make sure that she has the least amount of things to worry about, because I know what that feels like, man. It's, look, producing a show at the Esplanade at the scale that we're doing, we've got a fantastic team that's assisting us and
Yeah,
supporting us,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
inevitably, the decisions have to go through us at the end.
Yeah, but he also overdoes it sometimes. Sometimes I have to tell him, okay, you know what, Rishi, don't stress too much about it, But I appreciate this, because I'd rather someone who is very well planned, which is
Right.
why, although I'm a full-time stand-up comedian, we both work in such a way where he is still, it's a truth, right? He still finances certain things because he can, and we have an understanding that my profession is going to get me this and his profession might get him this. And so I respect his journey as you must have mutual respect,
Yeah, I think it's taken us a while to get to this position where we can understand each other's strengths and flaws, and in a way fill each other's gaps. There's certain things that she's much better at that I need her to support me with, and vice versa as well.
A lot of things.
But when we started out, we weren't clear about those things. So yeah, we had our disagreements about creativity or production or being in the same thing, or work or family or relationships. Or what are you making faces at the side?
I'm just
basket?
smiling
What is
and
this?
I say something that none of them know except him.
Apa, yeah, what is this, bro? Hey,
Yeah, it's-
Ramadan,
you get
don't
angry.
anyhow.
So yeah.
Yeah, so it's come to a phase where we're quite excited about it now. I
Yeah.
think there's fewer disagreements. I don't know. Maybe.
No,
Yeah,
it's not with me. The disagreements are not with me. It's with the team. Because Rishi is, as I say, he's a stickler for. So when I know that there are too many people handling it, I put my hands out. I'm only there to perform.
right.
I'm writing material. I just came back from India. I did shows there, and so I'm still trying to shift gear. And so I let Rishi be lah.
But we cut off, right? So being the producers and performers, at some point you gotta
Cut
off the cord, right? So I
Yeah.
tell the team, like, look, I'm involved up till 4 nights before the show, 5 days before the show, and then after this, right, I'm not here.
Yeah.
None
And
of us are
the
here.
team is competent. It's
They're
not
damn
like
good.
They're
Touch
damn
wood,
good.
yeah.
It's just this, the need.
I'll give you an example of things that have to go through us. For example, if there's an edit of a promo, right, she has to approve it. Like, even after I've seen it, I have to send it to her. Okay, are you happy with this? Is it okay? Because it's both our images,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
So it can't be like, oh, fish, like, this is not, you're not looking the way your brand is, or you're not saying the right things or whatever.
And also nowadays, you're very careful digitally. You can get into trouble immediately. I've gotten into
Yeah.
trouble in, say, Malaysia. Recently, last
Yeah.
year. And nothing to do with me. It was something that was shot for their television. But because it went viral again, and then there's so much polarization happening, across the world.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
now when you have any material online, it just takes one idiot to
Yeah.
pull out that clip
Out of context.
out of
sometimes.
context, very out
Yeah,
of context,
yeah,
and
of
say,
course,
but
yeah.
did you mean this?
Mm.
Are you saying something about against the fat community? Are you saying something about against the Gen Z? Gen Zs, I don't care lah. That one I will say lah. Gen Zs deserve it lah.
Yeah. Don't worry, we have like an hour. This podcast will be over an hour long of out of context things that people can clip out. and
Yeah,
put
man.
on.
Good
Yeah.
luck. Go to town, Mothership audience.
I'm sure.
No, but honestly, after a certain age, the personality makes a huge difference. Like I
Yeah, yeah,
find
yeah.
Adrian Pang extremely good looking.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah, like when he starts talking, his
Yeah, yeah.
personality is so hot. Like I think he's very attractive.
Have you
It-
met Pierre Peng?
Yes, I've met Pierre Pang.
I haven't.
Oh no, you've not.
No,
met
I
Pierre Pang.
haven't.
Okay, so
But who?
Adrian or Pierre?
No, Adrian Pang. I mean it. Like
Oh.
like that's what I'm saying. That he's
Okay.
not like or conventionally, but when you actually like meet him, there's a spark by DBS. So
Wow. Okay.
And Adrian is one of the
no, he's
funniest,
very good looking. Very funny,
one of
very
the
good looking.
genuinely funniest MFs out there. So Adrian Tracy hired me for my first theatre job when I got out of young company training as an actor. I
Okay.
was in the full Monty with their inaugural production of Pandemonium. And I got a chance to, I was like a shitty singer, like just fresh out of whatever.
They switched
actor.
off his mic.
Yeah, basket. They switched off my mic during the chorus because I really was hopeless.
Oh,
Very bad,
really?
very
They're
bad.
like,
Can we
Rishi,
get-
we are hiring you
can we
because
get a
you're a
snippet?
really good actor. But
It's terrible. Are you sure?
turn off your mics.
Your fake ceiling, whatever this thing is, will fall onto your head. No, he's Rishi, as good as he's an actor, performer, everything, like singing is really not for him and his family. Like
Whoa.
Oh, yeah, it's such
I
a
have karaoke with Rishi's entire family.
Whoa.
And they start with the conviction that they're very good at singing.
Yeah.
And I swear to you, there have been times I'm sitting there going,
Oh, shit.
like I wish Allah would export me into some other realm because
Why
because-
Allah, yeah? Just because it's Ramadan?
Yeah, I mean no, because I'm very secular. All God.
Secular means what?
I'm just like, please, Allah, I cannot take this. I cannot take this. I don't know, like, but we cannot.
I will have to agree with that. My family is not.
Terrible at
We are
karaoke.
amazing
Terrible.
actors. We are true. They say you to be a good actor and a good performer.
Yeah.
Before you can deliver the truth of another person, you must first be able to deliver the truth of yourself.
Very slowly you said that,
Yeah.
Rishi.
So because it's truthful, right? Anything that comes
You
too
need
fast might be a
to
lie.
Lower the pitch of your
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah.
And to,
Take it easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
The singing
Before I-
was bad.
Before I start singing, you better take it
Like-
easy. Torture you.
That's
with
the only
my-
reason why we don't invite like, our Chinese friends for Deepavali, because God forbid if they hear
the
Rishi's family sing.
Oh, but Chinese people like some of them are pretty bad at singing and they love KTV as well.
Yeah,
I,
they do.
I include myself in that group.
It's
Oh.
okay, what? It's
No,
just,
you sound like
you
you
need to
should
be
sing.
honest.
No, honestly, I cannot.
Fine.
Michelle, are you a singer? You sound like a singer.
Michelle is a singer.
She is,
Yeah,
right?
see?
Yeah,
Woo,
yeah.
woo.
Okay,
Okay,
come.
but I want
Yeah,
to
yeah.
say that even if you're bad at singing, not saying that any of you are,
Oh, I-
but as long as you are fun to be with in a karaoke, that's all that matters.
They're not fun to be with.
Oh,
in
they're
the
not
I
okay.
see,
Okay,
okay.
then
No, no.
That-
They're fun to
that's a
be
different issue
otherwise,
then.
but in a karaoke,
That-
because when someone is singing off tune and not with the beat, that's
Oh.
when you feel like cutting your veins with a papad, like just
So-
papadam, just take a papadam and cut your veins up because the auntie is like, hey, is like that right? Then I'm like, oh my God, this is not, stop it. And Bollywood songs got rhythm, and it's not difficult. It's like, they're like, I'm not like, what is going on? Rishi's family don't have the one. But my sister sings, so
Okay.
we've got.
Can I tell him
So
about your
arts and
family?
crafts and,
Can I tell him about how I got a culture shock walking into your family?
My
First,
family is perfect.
They don't sing, but everything is a screaming match.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
everything is shouting. Like I
Oh,
grew up in
okay,
a very
okay.
quiet
A
household.
conversation is loud, yeah. Loud.
So
Okay.
the first time I went into a home, right, and folks were like, "Hey, how come this fella is here? Come here, tell us. Hey, come get him some food. Hey, what else? Come on,
And
get
they're so
something."
near, that's the thing, right?
And I'm like, Cheryl, did I do something? No, that's just how my parents talk.
So
That's how they
Rishi's
show love.
family is like MasterChef.
Yeah.
My family is like Survivor.
Oh, wow.
You understand?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
very different.
Yes.
But
Because
there's
my-
a lot of drama on MasterChef as well. I don't know which.
But it's a bit
I haven't seen
under-
the Singapore one, but the Australian
It's very
one, a lot of
understated drama.
understated
Yeah,
is like Survivor is like at some like in my family there's always something happening.
I think
Yeah.
yours is more Amazing Race. Like that. It's like
Always
a lot
rushing
of
places.
movement, a lot of energy,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
drama. Okay.
Your family is Pakistan's Got Talent.
That's a good show. We're Sindhis. Our roots are in Pakistan.
But not for singing.
Not for singing. No, I agree with that. No,
Yeah.
Comedy maybe.
Different
comedy.
talent.
Not and arts and not for
Not
arts
if
and
not for
crafts
arts.
Oh,
as,
no,
as well
yeah.
apparently according to what
At
you
least the
said.
contestants are not of arts, but they're in the art, so that's how miserably they fail.
I mean, I've said this on the podcast before, but my mum's side of the family sounds exactly like your family. They
Oh.
just have to shout at each other.
Yeah, we
That's just
shout.
how they communicate. It's so embarrassing when we go somewhere like Japan,
Oh.
like, and then they're just like shouting at each other in public. Well, I don't know if I can say this on
Just
the
say it.
podcast.
Why? Don't worry.
Okay,
You scared your dad is going to come and complain?
No,
Mother-
How come you
I'm worried
vomited
about-
again?
I'm worried about what people online will say. Okay, so stereotypically, when people think about Chinese people in the mainland, they think that they're very noisy and very loud.
Nothing wrong with that.
I recently went to Hainan with my mom's family. We were still the loudest people in
Oh,
public.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
dude.
how crazy it was.
That's amazing.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
a good story,
yeah.
bro.
It's thanks.
Well
man.
done, man.
No, my mom
Appreciate
as well. Like, I mean, amazing woman, but then you see her like you know, I used to go to India every holidays because my mom was like, you have to be like street smart. And it's not cool when they're like hot boys walking past and you're like this Singapore girl who's like, oh my God, so good looking. And your mom is like, go to the toilet now. Go to the toilet to do your VV. And you're like, what? I'm like, Mom, can you stop screaming in the middle of this shopping mall that I should take a piss? If not, I will not find a clean washroom somewhere. And she's like, go to the toilet. You want tissue? Go to the, is it the number 2 or number 1? You know, and these guys are like, what is going on with this?
Our Indian parents do not trust us, you know. They are like, you know, you're going India, you must be careful, you know, keep your bag close to you. And I always say, hello, I was from the Singapore Armed Forces, you know, like I was an army boy. And what? No, really? What?
You were shredding paper. You were shredding paper for the army.
Look, I was the leave and ORD clerk, okay? I was supposed to do my duties as a leave clerk. And when people leave the camp, I supported them. Okay, I was reason for morale, high morale in SAF. I used to tell jokes during happy hour.
Jesus.
Before they go out for exercise and after they come back. Okay, without me, there will be less laughter in camp.
Okay, on that note.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get to the questions that you guys have submitted, if you are watching this right now, if you have something that is weighing heavy on your chest, you have some sort of life decision that you're trying to make and you need help with it, you can write into us at the link that is on your screen right now. You can find that same link in our show descriptions, and who knows, maybe you can get someone as witty, as funny as Sharul and Rishi to answer your question. Okay, shall we get to the advice questions from the audience?
Please.
Would you do us, one of you guys, would you do us the honor of reading the
Since
next one?
Sharul is a great answerer of questions. Okay, I ask for you. Come. So this question has come from Confused. Is that the name of the person?
Yeah.
Confused, as you are, you have identified yourself. My boyfriend and I have been dating for about 2 years. He said that he's committed and wants to get married in a few years' time. However, he refuses to meet my parents and my friends. I cannot make sense of his behavior. When I ask him, he gets upset and says that I don't trust him. What should I do? This is someone called Confused.
Don't be confused. He's not committed.
Ooh.
What do you think? What do you think, Michelle?
Refuses to meet your parents and
He's not committed.
friends. I cannot make sense.
He's bullshitting you. He's got other people in his spank bank.
Oh.
He is looking at other women's Instagram, and you should not be confused anymore about it. Just very clear to see.
I mean, we are okay. So this is a. I'm just want to. This is obviously a heterosexual relationship. This is a female. Oh, we don't know.
We don't ask for gender when we in the.
So how? Okay, lah.
It's
So
no,
we
no,
are
it's not.
assuming it's a girl and
Of
guy lah.
course,
Okay.
boyfriend.
Boyfriend. No, I mean boyfriend.
No,
Wait,
but
hold
then with the LGBTQ community, like when I have friends who have open relationships with their boyfriends, it's very open. Then both sides do it.
on. Okay, okay.
This
Understand.
is very clear.
Clear that it's a okay.
Yeah, I've. So I'm the help desk for my girlfriends.
Yeah.
And my guy friends. So I get a lot of calls in the night where Rishi gets very frustrated because from 10 to 12, I'll have a lot of phone calls with different people. Sometimes they're at home as well, which I don't mind at all because maybe that's just a person. I feel that maybe privileged that I can just be there for people and people can be there for me. And these are very common things and I can see through bullshit.
Okay. That's why I said she's the one who answers. She has
Right.
practiced every night 10 to 12 while
Yeah,
I'm
10 to
trying
12
to
is
sleep.
my helpline.
My help desk is open now.
Yeah.
Who's
Yeah.
calling in?
Yeah, helpline. Really, sometimes I get like, oh, but I have really stupid friends who, I mean, sorry. Yes, sorry.
Yeah,
But
they're
you know,
stupid lah.
but some of them will be like, but then he was supposed to message me at like 10 o'clock after work. But then his phone was switched off. And then he only messaged me at 3 a.m.
Wow.
And he said, can I come home? But like, he really loves me. So what do you think? And I'm like, yeah, because he wanted to come home and sleep with you. But he's not really emotionally involved.
Yeah.
So it's very clear to see. No, but in 1965, when he got me a flower the first time, I'm like, I understand, but you need to see consistency in a relationship and accountability is important. Then, like sometimes the obvious goes over your head because you see this guy and you are like, Lan Xiao Xiao or whatever, and you're like, I want this man itself. And I'm like, but this guy, yeah, like, dick crazy. And you're like, I want this. And you're like, but this dick has gonorrhea.
Wow.
So, how I know when Sharul is like on overdrive at her home help desk is when I heard she's got a standard template when she's motivating her girlfriends. She's like, babe, you are beautiful. You don't need this fella. Okay, you come on. You are so gorgeous. You can get anyone. Okay, and let me tell you something. It's his loss.
Yeah. Oh
Okay,
my
just
gosh.
don't answer. No need to answer. Keep down the no, don't answer. Hey, I'm with you, right, babe? Come on, okay? You're a queen, okay? You're a queen. And I'm like, wow, who is she giving this to now?
And almost 99% of these guys are scared about the girlfriend or the slash whatever buddy because they are friends with me. Like the warning is that we know Sharul has a reputation and she's going to press your empowerment button or whatever and tell you about your rights, and they hate that. And those who hate me, I clearly can see through that bullshit.
Yeah.
And also, like, it's been in the papers. Like, I've called out someone before for harassment, and it was someone known in the community,
Like fairly prominent.
prominent person. And so, they are like, it was a shock for that part of the Indian community because, but I didn't know who he was. But then when they came out, they're like, well, and then a lot of other things happen, but they're like, oh my god, so they're scared.
Yeah.
And I'd rather they be scared. Yeah, do the
Yeah,
right
fair
thing.
enough,
If you do
fair
the right
enough.
thing, you won't be scared.
How did you guys meet? Can we talk about your dating period?
We
Should I tell them the same story?
same story. You mean
Means the real story.
the fake one.
The real one that, but
You can? Okay, sure.
you sure?
I asked her out to Plaza Singapura, and I took her to Pasta Mania.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
It was.
What'd you guys get?
So
spaghetti
we got a
carbonara?
pasta, but I played a prank on her, and she's still upset about it.
No, he opened up the chili bottle halfway, and when I was in the toilet, so when I came, he's like, "You want some chili?" And I poured it, the entire chili pot onto my pasta, and I started sneezing, and I have sinus issues, but that's fine.
Such a good prank, though. Come on, man. Come on, man. Like, if your first date,
wow.
Okay,
date.
Yeah.
did you pay for the pasta?
Of course, I paid.
Okay,
for
then
the
I mean, I think
pasta.
you're
Really?
allowed to do
Was that the marker?
No.
It's like,
If she paid for it, then you've wrecked her meal.
Red flag.
right?
Drew is a red flag.
But if you paid for it, then you can.
I don't know about
say
that.
you bought her a replacement.
I didn't think of it.
It's the cap. He put the cap on again, then the knowledge doesn't want to go into his head.
It's not going in.
It's not
Drew.
going
It's not the
Get it off.
It's the anti-thinking cap. That's the problem.
It's the walao
Whoa,
who paid for the
I really thought
pasta.
that was a legit
Like a
take.
fair one.
No.
Well, I didn't think of it that way. To be, I
Doesn't matter who
understand.
paid for the pasta.
Yeah, who cares?
No,
Who
I
paid
mean
for
no,
it?
because if you paid for it, then he's wasted your money.
It's not about money. It's about building
I think it was
it's like
more
first date.
building
right?
trust.
like,
lah.
okay, to be fair, I think that was the first moment we properly connected on
Yeah,
the
I
date.
laughed. I mean,
She-
I wasn't offended.
She didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah.
We got a great laugh out of it. I think she found me extremely
Was
sexy
that the
in
moment?
that moment.
Was that
No,
the-
I tell you something. So we started. I thought he was a very intelligent guy.
Yeah.
She thought.
No, I
She
thought.
thought, yeah.
But then when I saw this, I'm like, oh my god, he's quirky as well. Because I would do stupid things like this as well. Very like I would do such things. So I laughed at her. It was damn funny.
And then on the way down from the escalator, she held my hand.
Whoa.
Okay, so if you
And
call that holding hand, like for example, it was a very crowded escalator, and he was holding on to the right side, and on the left side it was busy. So I held on like that to go all the way down, and then I let go. So
Right.
if for a man who's not gotten enough attention from women, that means holding hand.
Okay,
Yeah.
you want to demonstrate how you held my hand?
Like
And then you
that.
can no.
No.
I was like
In
that.
Rishi's head, what I did like that in Rishi's head, I went, oh my
No, no.
god,
No,
Eddie,
no, no, no,
hold
no.
your hand.
Easy.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
look. First date, even if it's okay. So what it was, my hands were down, right?
Yeah.
And she went, may I just show? You went like that, and the other hand was, so it was like that. And then the other hand was here.
You know, men exaggerate what happened.
Really?
no.
That's so much.
Which
Like,
is why,
quite a
no,
bit.
it's quite
I
a
mean,
bit for me
how
to do at a
else?
short distance of an escalator. He's
Oh.
lying. But you know what's worse is, after this happened,
Ah.
I asked him, you knew me 2 years before that. What
Mhm.
made you suddenly ask me out for a date?
Yeah.
And he said, should I be honest? And he said, we were performing at Fort Canning, and the girls had one tent where they were changing, and the boys had one tent. So they're like, go get the girls because it's time for the performance to start. And he went to the tent and he's like, hey, it's time for the performance. He didn't hear anything.
I said, can I come in?
Can I come in? And he didn't hear anything. So she just lifted the curtain and I was changing. And then he just slowly put the curtain down. And then so what a pervert.
Wow.
You didn't know that.
I didn't know that happened. And he told me, and I'm like, you saw me changing clothes and then you asked me out for a date.
Okay, there's
Oh,
some.
that does sound pretty
there's
perverse.
some-
That's a lot of my. That's more than my personality. You saw that.
Oh, look, there's some inaccuracies and exaggerations in that story.
You
okay?
saw my soya chunks and you wanted to ask me out.
Bruh, it was your back, and you were kind of dressed. Okay, let's.
But you saw me backless and you wanted.
no,
Rishi,
it
that's
wasn't backless,
disgusting.
babe. It was
Of course
like
it was.
you had the choli on, like the Indian blouse. It was already on.
Dude, shut up. Yeah, you cannot be. So when he told me that, I
I
went
was like, and it wasn't like
and I gulped.
and out. It was more like
Yeah lah, like
hey,
it wasn't like
guys,
oh.
I was like, hey, okay, it's time for the performance. Anyone in there? And when I was like, oh, sorry, it was
Oh,
like
is that it?
That was it.
And that is like that was
You
your
didn't even know
defining,
it happened.
That was your defining moment to actually ask me
It
on a
was
date.
obviously it wasn't.
I think it was
that-
slower.
That's
I
why
think it was like
That's why I'm saying you're faking
na,
this
na,
story.
na, na, na. It was a crime series.
You make it sound like I walked in and I'm like, ooh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. And then I see water for it. No, it wasn't. It was just like,
Like
oh.
Rishi, like similarly, I didn't go like, ooh, baby, baby, it's a while.
Felt like
Whatever
that.
it is, you like my soya chunks. I'll take that.
Fair.
So wait. So what was the actual reason? If that's not the reason why you asked
Yeah.
her out, then what was the actual reason in
The
recollection?
real story, we were performing together in a Bollywood dance troupe.
Okay.
That's the true story. And we were getting to know each other. But when I was getting to know her as a friend, I was still badly hung up on my ex. Like shittily, like bad kind of breakup kind
So
of shit.
I was like, I think this guy needs a shoulder to cry.
Oh, and that is
You were
your
calling
shoulder.
her at 3 a.m. in the morning.
No, she was aware. She was aware,
Yeah.
and I was like, look, I can't get
And
into
I was
anything.
not the only girl like in his sphere. Like there was another girl who's a very nice friend of ours now. We'll never say her name, but like he was just like meeting her around the campus as well. And I knew of it.
You make it sound
Yes.
so dirty, yeah. Like meeting her around the campus as
God
well.
knows what you're
Whoa,
doing.
bro.
So it was true. Don't make me say it.
What?
And then, but you see, for me, I was like, listen,
Stress.
that's your past and that's your life,
help
and it's
this.
perfectly fine. And we just could make each other laugh. I guess we just made each other laugh a lot, and we there was a connection, lah.
Yeah, and I think that genuinely was that because we both loved what we were doing, and we had these shared dreams of becoming Bollywood actors at
Oh,
some point in
okay.
life. That's how we met in the same dance troupe.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how we made some of our closest friends that we've got, and of
Yeah.
course that dream kind of evolved a little bit, and we, in a way, I think catalyzed each other forward, accepted each other for who we were.
And I didn't have any. I mean, his ex is a wonderful lady. We're still kind of friends, and nothing lah. I think that's one thing that people get very sensitive about. Oh my God, his crazy ex, or his crazy present, and unless they're really crazy, I've seen really crazy ones who like lock up their husband, like the phone and surveillance, and like, oh my God, the control is massive. But here it's like, I think let people be, because the
Yeah.
more you hold on to the sand, the quicker it runs out of your hand. Did I rhyme that?
Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah, it's
That's
true.
podcast worthy,
Anything
yeah.
you control
Yeah, very good.
is going
From
to
the movie Dil Chahta Hai.
anything you control, it's gonna shut
It's
up.
from a Bollywood movie.
I hope you shit yourself, Rishi, on your way
Whoa.
out. Wow. So
Good line. I'm saying it's a good line. I remember it.
I
It's
hope-
great.
How long before you met each other's families?
Families are.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
the question right there.
I mean, bringing it back to confused.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
questions. Questions.
How long before you met each other's families?
Definitely less than 2 years.
yeah. We met, yeah, but not officially, but they knew that we were sort of dating each other.
Yeah.
My mom had this line where she's like, even after a marriage, she'll be like, they're just friends only. And I'm like, Mom, we got married. My
Bro,
mom
we
was like,
dated for 8 years or something, and up till the day before the wedding, I was just Sharul's friend. And then the religious ceremony happened. It's like, yeah, husband.
Yeah.
I was
Because
never
cannot
the
have
boyfriend.
boyfriend. There's no such thing as boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's so conservative, my mom, and she's like, oh, they're just friends. And then she'll get volunteer information. Even if they go overseas, they put a pillow in the middle of the two of them.
Friends.
They're friends.
Very good friends.
And we're family. We met the family. His family members are amazing. I met
Yeah.
his grandmother as well before she passed. And she had to make peace with the fact that we were not from the same.
Yeah, okay. I was going to
Same
ask.
clan. lah.
Same
So
clan.
we're both
Because
of,
you're Sindhi.
I'm Sindhi, she's Punjabi.
Punjabi.
And my
That's
grandmother.
in a similar area. no?
It's North
No?
Indian communities,
Yeah.
different sects, so
Right,
to speak,
okay.
different clans or whatever. So it's not that different. Like
But
the
with
language.
Indians, there is within the Indians as well. They're from different parts of India, and they are, although their religious ceremonies might be similar, the way of doing it is different.
Yeah. Okay.
Their beliefs might be different. And Rishi's from from the Sindhi community, and I'm from the Punjabi community. And I think Rishi's grandmother, who was very well known in the community, she used to match make or help
Okay.
people around in the community. And she thought her only grandson was going to get married to another Sindhi girl. So when she saw this Punjabi girl walk up, like loud mouthed and like I would say quirky or weird, really, it took her some time to accept who I was and the fact that he made this decision. And it can really.
Yeah, it took a bit of. It shouldn't have had to, but I think a part of it was you don't want to. I had a very positive relationship with my grandmother because I spoke the language. She
Yeah.
lived with us, and Sindhi is almost like a dying language around the world, right?
Yeah.
Especially for people who are of my age or younger. So rather than being a rebel about the woman I loved, I took time to slowly explain to her, make her understand, introduce them. And of course, there were difficulties in the initial part. But I think before she passed, she understood who Sharul was. She learned why I was with this person.
Yeah.
And in a way gave us her unofficial blessings.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
to
So
further
there
our
was a bit of trouble with getting accepted by Rishi's family, but how about on the other side?
Rishi's grandmother only. The parents
Okay.
were fine.
Yeah.
On my side, my family was just like, immigrant family. Like my dad came here when I was 3 months old. So they were
Wow,
happy-go-lucky. They were more about who the person is.
Right.
Yeah.
And Rishi was very,
I dropped my pants in front of my future mother-in-law before we were
Sorry,
dating.
pants.
his pants, like
Yeah.
he was
Wow,
performing
okay.
and the pants came
Just
off.
for fun?
No, like
Oh,
literally
it's
caught
an
wardrobe
accident.
malfunction on stage because my tailor father measured me wrongly. Sorry,
And then
Dad.
my mother was like, oh, my daughter likes is, the guy who had the show, his pants fell off. So even to say it, they were like, so did you like him because his pants fell off? I'm like,
It's what-
it's not that.
After
Hey.
and we were not dating at the time. We were not, right? At that time.
No,
And-
we had just started.
were we Bollywood night?
That's why my mother spoke about it.
No, so
you were
she-
trying.
I was trying. Okay, yeah, maybe. My mother-in-law would say to her, to Sharul, like, oh, I sit among all those boys on stage, right? If there was anything that Sharul would have with anybody, I hope it's with that fellow who dropped his pants. Yeah. Like, remember, I was just like, "Agar kisi ke saath kuch hone
Yeah,
wala hai
because
to-"
everybody likes to take credit for when a relationship works out, and
Yeah.
then nobody wants to take credit when it's breaking up or whatever.
Yeah.
So my mom was like, yeah, I have a hand in this and I manifested this, in their own Indian manifestation, like, their version of manifestation.
So it's like, ironic because like you fell in love with her because you saw her changing,
Yeah.
and your mother-in-law fell in love with Rishi because she
Be-
saw
because he
his
didn't
pants
change.
down. Yeah.
Because
He read the right
Remained the
words,
same
yeah.
guy.
Okay, but
Goals.
can I play devil's advocate for the dude in Confuser's story
Okay,
for a
go.
second?
Yeah.
2 years, right? What if he's in NS? He only has weekends off.
What?
He doesn't want to hang out with his family on
No.
weekends.
Yeah.
Mm.
What do you think about that?
Rishi, when he was with his ex,
Hmm.
was in NS, and all he wanted to do on Saturday, Sundays was to meet her. So I think no.
Meet her, but not her family, lah.
Yeah, but I'm
But
sure.
he's saying that
But you met
Yeah.
the family; they were very nice people,
when I was,
but they didn't accept you.
Yeah, man, shit. I wasn't good enough, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I agree. I mean, like
Yeah.
it's a pretty big red flag.
2 years, it's very. I mean, look.
It's like,
once,
No
why-
friends
why is
either.
he
The friends is
refusing?
is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
why do you? I
No.
mean, maybe from your perspective, what do you think? Would you think it's a red flag as well, Michelle?
I would. And also because I think to me, my family is very important.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
him not wanting to meet my family will be a big red flag for
How
me.
long before you introduced your partner to your family?
Probably half a year.
Mm.
Half
Yeah.
a year, okay.
Yeah, I
That's
think
fair.
around the area.
Yeah. If you had to advise someone, how long before they should meet their partner's family?
I think there's no timing, in my
Yeah.
opinion, right? Because sometimes
That's not 2 years.
even you as a person, this is clear that the expectations are mismatched.
Yeah.
Mm.
Sometimes there are some couples who don't meet each other's families until they get married,
Okay.
Mm.
and that's okay with them as well, right?
It's about the couple themselves.
Mm.
Yeah.
If they are strong, then they don't. If they're very strong and they, sometimes in the community, someone will see you outside with this person, and it's always about accountability. That, hey, my mother saw us here, so I need to. Singapore's
Yeah.
a very small country.
Yeah.
But even in India, even though it's a big country, in their own sects, everybody will see who's where. So I think that as long as the couple
I'm so sorry.
will sorry, you know the knuckle song. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, this is violent. Sorry. Okay. So
That's how she held my hand the first time.
Okay.
See? She does it, right?
So wait, as long as you as a couple are on the same page,
Yeah.
then okay. But if
Okay.
one person wants to meet, the other one is, then there is a mismatch of
Yeah.
expectations.
Because there's the other way around also, right? There are sometimes like, hey, Michelle, I really want to meet your family. And Michelle is like, no, I don't want to introduce you to my family. Then is that also a red flag? Or is that, hey, we need to wait for Michelle to be comfortable?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it is. I mean, say he likes to smoke every 2 minutes and you don't want to change him for who he is, and your family is not going to accept that right now for whatever reason, and it's,
Okay. Yeah.
you know, and then you're like, it's okay. Once we are fine with it, and then I can at least come
Yeah.
to a point and say, okay, you
Yeah.
can smoke, but when you come to my house, don't smoke.
yeah.
You
maybe
know,
I mean, but the fact that confused is, reaching out for support
Yeah.
to Mothership help desk. It seems to
seems like it's a Gen Z, Gen Beta, Gen
confused
Z,
needs some
whatever.
genuine help. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So we hope you get the. But yeah, as Sharul said, that's her answer. Red flag.
Yeah,
No, but I also think the red flag is also because there is a lack of communication. Like he doesn't explain, he just gets mad.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
I think that is also an issue that
Yep.
the guy or the partner has.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
To
So as
express it.
Sharul said, don't be confused.
It's he's not.
Move on.
It's
Huh?
not. Okay, well, I think that's all the time that we have on today's episode of Help Desk. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Tell us again about your show. I mean, now's the time to plug it. Where, what time, where can people get more information?
So, watch Rishi and myself at the Rishi and Sharul show happening at the Esplanade Concert Hall on the 21st of March at 8:30 p.m. and tickets are from Ticketmaster.
That's right. Yeah, join us there. She said everything that's required. I just have to show up and look pretty.
It's really my show.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Really, I really
Looking
just-
forward to it.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
everybody.
Okay, thank you
Thank
so much
you.
to you
Thank
guys. Thank
you.
you so much to you guys for watching today's episode. And thank you to Audio-Technica for powering the audio for this episode. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.